everyone, and welcome to, I think, our second live of 2024, Automation Ladies. I have no idea what episode number this is going to be, but that's part of the fun. We're actually booked out now, ladies, until, I think, April. So we've got a lot of really fun guests. Some of them first-time guests, and then some of them, like Morgan, where we just couldn't get enough the first time, and we need them to come back and tell us more and give us updates. The other cool thing is, obviously a year or two in the span of a career can, for some people, mean a lot of changes. We've had some people, complete school and go on to higher positions. And so pretty excited to bring you some of those touch bases with previous guests, as well as make room for new guests, new members of the Automation Ladies community. So those of you that are here, please let us know in the comments if you're joining. That's part of the fun when we do these live. And welcome, Morgan. Thank you for joining us on the show.
Awesome. Thank you, Nikki, Allie, Courtney, for having me back. Our first show was live at Gray Solutions in Kentucky, which was a blast. I'm looking forward to going back with you guys, hopefully, this year to Bourbon Spots and Trots. But yeah, excited to catch up with you guys with all the good things that 2024 is bringing us.
Absolutely. A lot in the works, that's for sure. And actually, so we are lucky enough to have Courtney with us in a chair in her office with the Automation Ladies hat on. She wears a lot of hats,
Yes.
as do most of us. And it is very nice to have both her and Allie here. And I have to thank Allie for covering for me yesterday on an interview. It'll be the first one where it's not me, but no, not the first one, because actually the first one was Morgan's interview last year, because I was stuck on a plane at O'Hare.
Yes.
And Allie and Courtney and Allie Walker graciously ran the show without me. So I know I'm not needed here, but I'm happy to be here with you ladies.
Isn't Courtney, it great to know?
We desperately need you, Nikki.
Yeah, we do. Mind giving us a little hi and an update on what you're up to. And it looks like you're at the URG office down there in SoCal. Is that right?
Yeah, right now, I am getting ready to go to the SLAS trade show in Boston. So just getting a bunch of demo equipment ready. And yeah, it's been nice for like a whole, I think, 13 minutes. I've not been in motion, so.
We'll call this your little rest period for the day. And then you have a big show coming up in, it's, like you said, kind of our only West Coast show in Anaheim. ATX, it used to be called. I think they're changing it now. IME, if I remember correctly.
So it's still ATX. It's always been like 5 or 6 trade shows in one, but Informa kind of just refers to all of them now as just IME West, South, East. I don't know if it's all 4 directions, but this is IME West.
Yeah.
And it's one we've, I personally just consider it like my trade show because we don't get a whole lot of trade shows on West Coast. So I have always either exhibited or walked or, one year I got a front seat to see Jamie Heineman from the Mythbusters give a little pitch. That was pretty cool. But cool. Thanks to Greg McIntyre relieving me a day earlier from the SLAS show, I'll be back in time to attend that one.
And you have several talks, right?
Yeah, a few. I'll post about them later. They're all evolving. Nice. It took all of 10 minutes for me to say I'm going to be back, for me to start volunteering to do stuff. So.
Okay, so watch out for some posts we'll post it on Automation Ladies as well, where you can find Courtney at the ATX West IME show, because she is the only one from Automation Ladies attending. I think we've been asked quite a bit. So We'll be able to find her there. We can facilitate those introductions if anybody wants to meet Courtney in Anaheim in a couple weeks.
I'll wear the hat.
How are you doing?
I'm gearing up. We got a big contract, a 5-year, and we want to get it paying out sooner than later. So we're right now, Courtney Pendon is on the other side of me working on level of efforts and scope of work we know that we kind of need to do. And I met with the customer and was like, hey, I have all these ideas of things I know that are broken. Do you want us to propose fixing them? And I got a go ahead on almost all of them. It was only 3 of 30 that he was no, we don't need that. So everything else was like, go ahead and like show me what you're gonna do to fix that stuff. And so we're excited to put as much in the works as possible and just keep an eye on that. And I think before we were like, I don't know, not so much on our sales game, and now we're like figuring out like how do we never let that down. Like, yeah, we have projects and that's awesome, but we can't stop
Yeah.
to get more projects.
Yeah.
Yep.
And trying to keep our eye out for more work, because maybe we have this big contract, but like we have to keep thinking about how to use that money. And so like how to help the customer. And there's 1,000 ways, but if you don't bring it to the customer's eyes, they may not. There's no reason for them to think about it. So bring them that stuff to think about. And so that's where I'm at right now, is just like my brain is exploding with like, how do I get these people to work? And what does the customer need? So it's both.
Yep.
Obviously, like I can't just put them to work on nothing
Yeah.
that doesn't benefit the customer. So what is broken? What do they need? And how do I get all these people working? And then we're also doing like, a little bit of a partnership. It is a partnership with, Courtney's other business, First One. So there's a lot of stuff. This year we're going to have Miriam Suleiman from Nigeria. Right now she's in Rwanda, but she's going to intern with us in Washington for 4 months.
Nice.
So that means she'll be here for 4th of July. So that was part of the like application was like, how are you going to teach her about like Americans? And I was like, 4th of July.
Yeah.
America.
Speaking of
Holidays. Otherwise,
Blow up a small piece.
Seattle has like every kind of food. So we'll take her to like sushi and like every kind, like she has diet restrictions, but she can still eat like all kinds of vegetarian, and like we can feed her American, which American is really just everybody else's stuff, right? We're like a giant hot pot. So I'm like excited to just like feed her and then have her do like, I want to go to the Space Needle for the fireworks. That's what the thing is going to be this year, is like, because now COVID was like so depressing. We had like, hey, have a virtual like fireworks thing. I'm like, oh my God. Like, so you have a picture of the Space Needle with fake fireworks behind it? So I'm excited. But there's so much stuff this year. IMTS is going to be huge for us. So there's different shows we're going to go to. I'm about to go to Trace Root Con, which is something with Josh Varghese, and it's about industrial like networking. And it's a class, and there's a lot of owners of systems integration firms that are going to that. So it's going to be kind of cool. Clash of the Titans, or really maybe collaboration of the Titans, whatever.
Yeah, so I want to bring that. So we don't talk the whole time. At least talk to Morgan a little bit.
Keep going. This is great for me.
No, but collaboration. I mean, that's your jam,
Yes.
right? Partnerships.
Yes.
Can you give us a little refresher on what you do at SVT Robotics?
Awesome.
Yeah, go for it.
So what my role really is as a partner success manager right now is I'm helping our partners in our ecosystem solve problems faster by giving them a consistent and repeatable way to implement their technology. So really, what does that implement? It's resulting in a faster time to live for them. So everybody knows right now, why is it so difficult to automate? Why is there so much complexity across the supply chain, across manufacturing? And that's really because no technologies are the same. No API is the same. They're not designed to communicate. And that has been a bottleneck that SVT has been really on a mission to solve.
So can you explain, those that don't know, haven't looked at SVT's website, like in, I guess, layman's terms as much as possible, what do you guys actually do? I see a robot behind you.
Yep.
Obviously some shelving and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Can you give us some use cases, or what part of the technology do you guys focus on?
So really what I want you guys to think about, the major challenges, what challenges bring, when you're bringing on a new technology of any sort, and connectivity. So how is that system going to talk to another? In your warehouse, your distribution center, doesn't necessarily have to be hardware. It can be a software. It can be a WMS. It could be manual data, IoT devices. How is it going to connect to other things? Second thing is the monitoring aspect of it, is monitoring that connectivity, making sure everything is healthy. and that it's running. And the third thing is if it's unhealthy, how do we get things back online and how are we going to like resolve these issues quickly? So really SVT provides a connectivity to this environment of this ecosystem of all these crazy disparate systems in the complex world that we're living in.
Okay, so
So
that robot behind you guys is behind you.
Yep.
Do you guys make that, or is that another manufacturer's robot that's running on your software or something like that?
Correct. Yeah, we do not resell any hardware. Everything that I have in the SVT Experience Center down in Norfolk is all partner donated. So the ones that are kind of looping behind me right now is a Locust Bot picking AMR and Six River Systems, another picking AMR. We'll have some new ones coming here soon that are new to the market from LGE and Reputa. So keep out for those. But what I want you to think of when you guys hear of the SoftBot platform is like they're little adapters
Okay.
or a Rosetta Stone to existing APIs that live out there that they're already in the marketplace. So again, SVT's platform is just an integration layer that helps connect all of these different systems.
Okay.
I have a question for a system. How
Please.
about systems? And I'm familiar specifically with something called Win911, which can
Okay.
let you tie into something called Factory Talk View, alarm and events,
Mhm.
to call, text, and email. Can you guys, if I knock that robot behind you over, can it email somebody or call somebody that I
Yeah.
did that?
A part of the platform's toolset is this awesome capability to monitor the health. So really everything that's happening, all the data and the messages that's coming through the system is all being tracked. And now we actually, this year, we're releasing SMS alerting. So to be like ahead of the game. And we've already, it's already in some customers' hands and like the tool's been amazing. So it's a single support tool, which is also huge. I'm sure you guys understand, having 5 different things open at the same time, trying to monitor everything that's going on, where now SVT brings it all together for you. So a single support tool to monitor the latency and really reduce those help desk calls that everybody hates. A lot of finger pointing, a lot of, the tool is like tier 1 support built in where everything's right in front of your face for people to isolate the errors.
You guys are integrators, so you're not actually like you're not producing your own hardware or software. You are helping everybody make
Yes.
everything talk with your robots,
Absolutely.
because there's robots everywhere. Cool.
Well, they
Yes.
do build the software that like
Software,
does that,
yep.
that ties it
So
together.
some custom software. Okay.
Yeah, there's
Now-
software, and then you're going to hear me always talk about softbots. And the softbots, there's a softbot for kind of each individual technology. So it'll be a softbot for a warehouse management system or a manufacturing system. There'll be a softbot for, the robots behind me. Could be an IoT softbot, all different ways.
Is that like simulation? What's a softbot? And can you guys do if someone comes and says, I think I want to do something, like, can you simulate, especially because there's robots involved? Or is that just like a different service?
I would say different service. So all we're taking is the OEM. So whatever API is, like we're meeting the technology where they're at. So they all speak different languages. We don't care what they come in, JSON, all the others that are out there. And really, as you guys know, from the world that we've been living in, traditional integration is done by point-to-point integration right now. Like that is the traditional old way of doing things, and it's all custom coded, and it's extremely inflexible, which is the problem. It's super brittle. It breaks when you want to upgrade. What if your market needs change? What if, the operations team is going off to all these trade shows soon and they're going to see all these nice new hardware and IT at home is like, oh shit, I have to support all this. So it's like it's been a crazy ride. I love what we're solving, and I'm super I'm so happy at the position I'm in because I get to learn about all these great solutions. And at the end of the day, we're just really trying to help our partner network with like defrictioning that process and implement it really fast without custom code, getting rid of that.
That's pretty exciting. Courtney, go ahead. I was about to ask from
Go for it. Yeah.
Well, I had a question from the standpoint of like, let's say like an OEM that wants to be included in this. Are you guys being approached by OEMs saying, hey, I'll give you a robot, please make me one of your one of your Rosetta
help
Stone
us
volumes.
help us scale. Yeah, that's really it. Is they're looking at us as like an easy button for integration. It's repeatable, it's turnkey. Of course, every site has its own health and heartbeat. There's a little bit of mods, but really at the end of the day, getting them 90% there can scale so much quicker for deployments. And that's what it's all about.
That robot's going really fast. Is he allowed to go that fast?
Oh yeah, they whip around here. And what's really cool is some of these AMRs have like route optimization. So sometimes we get them at the beginning, they're a little slow putting around, and then when they get the hang of the area, they're whizzing around. So it's great. Some of the technology that's in some of the robots now.
Very cool.
So URG has some AMRs like that, right? That maybe could or should be plugged into the partner ecosystem with
the reason I'm asking.
Yeah.
There's some AMRs that we represent from one of our owned companies in Spain, Robotnik.
Awesome.
And I'm just curious to see. I'm at this point learning how to make them talk to other stuff. So
Yep,
I think
the big
more
bottleneck.
conversations should happen probably.
Looking forward to it, Courtney. Send them my way.
Collaborations happening live on Automation Ladies.
Live.
Let's go.
Is that normal to know where the AMR is? I've never worked with AMRs. And so if they move around, that's part of the data is like, where is he?
Yeah, a lot of those companies don't expose the XY coordinates, which is interesting. But the fleet managers that have, like, there's a fleet manager typically with all these AMRs, and that's really where you can see where are the robots. But there's some
That's
new
an
AI.
important part of it.
Yep, there's some new AI coming out, that's kind of helping with optimization, that's helping with being a traffic cop, so that's going to be really cool to see this year, is how some of that stuff comes to life.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on humanoid robots?
Unfortunately, we're living in a world where it's hard to get labor. I hear it on every single call, labor call outs, safety call outs. So, if we can save a couple people's back and they want to lift the heavy boxes, go for it. I'm excited to see how the trailer load and unload robots and AMRs continue to scale, so people aren't breaking their backs. So big safety call out for sure.
Humanoid bomb squad.
Yeah. If it's going to help people, like, health wise, I'm here for it. But that's one big thing is I think people think robots are going to take over jobs. It's like, no, they're trying to make your life easier.
Yeah. And I think a lot of cases, like the pushback I've heard and seen with humanoids is that, like, they're not an optimal form factor. Like, we're trying to replicate ourselves, but doesn't mean that that's the best form factor for, and you see like these AMRs right on wheels. They're a lot faster on wheels than they are if they're walking with the bipedal, like with legs. But somebody made a good point at the A3 forum. One of the companies was presenting was that in some cases, you can't fit a wheeled base into certain areas or environment or doing a certain emotion, right? You may want to mount the upper body of a humanoid on a wheeled base, but in other applications, you actually need the footprint of just 2 human-sized feet. Right. And that like envelope that it can cover and the amount of dexterity you can get out of that in certain applications, you need that, right? You may not be able to retrofit an entire old warehouse where you have really narrow areas where you can't have an AMR drive through. So I think
they can't do stairs.
Right.
That's one of the big reasons why I've heard companies going with the quadrupeds in a lot of places, because they can actually traverse stairs.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And maintain their balance while they do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I personally think for like most things, there are applications for these tools. I don't think they're going to come out and like replace all the other types. And there's just like with cobots, there's a lot of reasons and places you don't need to use a cobot just because it can. And same thing with humanoids. But I'm a little bit annoyed with the whole poo-pooing of like in traditional automation people going like, oh, this is totally unnecessary. There's no use case. Like, why is everybody doing this? I don't know. I'm interested to see like how it fits in when we get to real production quantities and stuff. Clearly the VC community believes that there's something there because there's a bunch of companies getting closer, continued investment. One of the things I would say I saw at A3 that made it a little bit more sense to me is one of those companies has been iterating on the actuators and the mechanics that go into the robots many, over the years to try to make them more standardized, lower cost. Because somebody made a good point. You have like 11 different joints in one arm of a humanoid versus you're looking at like 6-axis robots in the industrial space. There's different trade-offs, and I'm sure different applications as well.
Yeah, Flexive has 7 axes, and they're trying to replicate the human wrist.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard for a humanoid robot, there's like 52 axes in play total, which is a lot of motion management.
We probably do.
It's beyond my. I'm good with like 6 to maybe 8 axes, and I'm out after that. I don't want to keep track.
That's why I'm hesitant to say that I believe the predictions that like by 2030 we'll have like billions of these in the market and the price point will be 10 grand. I think that's, probably a little unrealistic. But at the same time, I don't know, things are moving fast. I just don't know where we're going to get the chips to produce them all. Like literally don't have supply chain set up for any kind of volume like that when it comes to cars or robots or anything. So I think a lot of people making the predictions maybe don't know the realities behind actually building the stuff. Manufacturers have to manufacture the stuff that we use to manufacture more stuff. I personally don't have a ton of experience with AMRs. I know Courtney, out of the 3 of us, works with them probably the most.
Great.
But would you see that SVT Robotics would extend into all other types of robots? Or are you pretty specific to the AMR?
No, we are very tech agnostic. We kind of operate in all different verticals, whether it's 3PL, whether it's manufacturing, food and beverage, retail, B2B. So we are kind of all over it. Really, at the end of the day, we're just helping people connect all different systems. A lot of people even come to us with homegrown systems. That need help with adding new technology. They have an old system. So we are completely flexible as long as we can get those endpoints to build the soft bots or the, adapters, like I call them. That's really all that matters, is just so it can communicate to everything else running within your 4 walls. So open to, like right here, we have an auto bagger, we have high robotics and ASRS. On that side, there's a modular vertical VLM. Let's see what else. Tons of AMRs. And then we, of course, have the arms. So Osaro, right hand, Ready Robotics, I'm sure you guys know about.
Yep.
But tech agnostic, we really don't care what kind of solution. When someone comes to us with a problem statement, we'll give introductions to all the partners on the platform and really find what's best for them.
Okay. Yeah. And I guess if a customer comes in and has a piece of equipment or a robot on their floor that isn't in your partner ecosystem, how do you handle that?
Easy. It's actually, people come to us all the time like, hey, we really want to tap in. You have all these connections to manufacturing enterprise systems or warehouse management systems. And really the team of solution architects start to build that out with them and really kind of leans in on level of effort to build things that we're seeing in the market on, hey, this might be beneficial for your API. And then we go from there. Building softbots takes like 4 to 6 weeks right now. Okay. So we're turning over them really quick. WMS is a little bit longer, but we have a great team here that's factory that's just building softbots, testing and deploying regularly.
For those of us that don't know, what does WMS stand for?
Warehouse management system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
is that your main customer base, is like manufacturing that involves warehouses? Because you guys should be inside of like hospitals and like schools. Yeah. And just a lot of places where a human should be able to, like, I don't know, interact with this thing that's kind of helping monitor. Like, you should watch kids with this thing.
Yeah.
Behind you.
That would be crazy if I could get it a little, so we could get some monitoring into the kids, what's going on right there, or safety. Alerting, like you said, alerting safety. And support. Yes.
Public safety is what I'm talking about. Yeah.
But we of course, hospitals and the healthcare market is a huge space that needs a lot of help. Can you imagine the amount of systems that they have and software, let alone some of the automation that's getting added too. So absolutely, that's a space we're playing in. But when you think about 3PLs, third-party logistics companies, typically they're running a lot of different software. a couple different WMSs under one roof, and they are typically very forward thinking. So they're wanting to try out the latest and greatest technologies, whether it's an AMR, picking robot, a palletizer, depalletizer, case picking, the big problems, and again, the labor shortages of why they're automating.
Yeah. Do you know Kevin Lawton and the New Warehouse podcast?
Kevin has been to SVT before.
Okay.
Big fan. He says warehouses are sexy. So yeah, that's his tagline. So yes,
Sounds like
no, Kevin.
Amazon.
But the big part about SVT is not just, of course, connecting it all, but like the big part is the monitoring,
Yeah.
the visibility into your health of your systems running, the alerting and support. Again, so your IT team is not taking crazy calls, and no longer is it a he said, she said game and hours of trying to triage code, which you guys know is a royal pain.
Is there anyone outside of like Amazon that's doing this has just a lot of AMRs to do what they need to do? Or can you even say who can do that stuff?
We're
Maybe
in a
if you can't say
I can't really. There's competition is good, of course. People
but you
are
could say
are
that they
trying.
do it.
Yes,
There
people,
are others in the space.
Yeah.
exactly.
That will be
Exactly.
my prediction.
Like, what is the scope of this? Like, how many AMRs are some of these companies putting?
Courtney, I haven't looked up in a while, but like how many robotics companies are out there right now? Like it's truly
Right.
insane. You guys just came from A3. I mean, you guys must
We're
have
trying to get
been
them
like,
everywhere. Yep.
yeah, they're coming from all over the world now too, so it's like it's going to be crazy to see. That's honestly what I love about my job the most, is seeing the new emerging tech that's coming. Whether here in the US, which of course I'm for, but also that's coming from overseas that's had success.
Yeah, I bet that's a fun place to be in the partner ecosystem, to get to kind of see what's coming down the pike from all the partners.
Definitely.
On. Yeah, I know. I met somebody from Auto Motors last time when we were in Kentucky.
Awesome. Yep.
They're obviously Rockwell now, so
Mhm.
it's interesting to see kind of what's happening in the space. I actually want to throw up, I haven't not been paying too good attention to the comments, and a lot of them, when they come in and it just says LinkedIn user, I'm like, I don't know who to attribute it to. But I think you have some fans here. Melissa saying, "Go Morgan."
Hey.
Thanks for joining us, Paolo. We've got Megan. Yes, Megan. All things
Hey, Megan.
cool. Good to see you. So we've got some comments about scalability and optimizing movements. And then we also have, David Turner's here. Hey, David, good to see you. He actually was at the A3 forum with me, and is talking a little bit about the humanoids here. And he says the biggest takeaway from that was that they said most of the energy consumed was in calculations, not the actual movement. So I can imagine that with that many axes,
With that
goes on to calculate all those movements.
Yeah, it only takes so much current to turn over a motor.
Right. But in this case, especially if you're going to be running AI in there, that sort of thing, I think the company, and I won't name them because I don't remember which one it was, and I don't want to mix them together, but they had a battery-operated robot that with swappable batteries, but it could last about 4 hours on each battery charge. So they were thinking like 4-hour shifts per task, and then you could potentially switch it over to a different task for the next shift. Or it could go maybe, I don't know if it can change its own battery or have another robot like change the battery of the
There's a lot of there's like opportunity charging as well, because sometimes you're going to be parked somewhere doing a task for a little bit. So if there's a charging unit there,
then you kind of get some charging in during the downtime. Yeah, makes sense. And then we have a question for you, Morgan. SVT Robotics plays a crucial role in the robotics industry. How do you see the company contributing to the broader landscape of automation and robotics? And what impact do you envision for businesses adopting these technologies? Big picture question.
Yeah, that was great. So the problem statement that we want to do, of course, is providing a consistent, repeatable way for them to scale. More business, more robots, whatever they're selling, whatever whatever they do best.
Yeah.
Faster time to go live, of course. And again, the really big thing is the data play now. We now have all this aggregated data in our SoftBot platform, like an integration layer between all the systems. And now companies can actually use that data like in their own BI tools, and actually use it for process improvements.
Okay.
So to me, it's the bigger play on kind of leaving the old traditional way of doing things, custom code, direct integration, because now you have the chance to scale, you have the chance to try different things, pilot different technologies, because you have a lot more flexibility and the IT teams have a lot better handle on the systems they're supporting, and they can scale and add different things as, the ops team comes and says, hey, we need to do this next year, or we were at A3 and now we want this robot. So hopefully people, see that we're trying to defriction the process and get away from the traditional system integrator world, of the old way of doing things.
Yeah, and I think all of us having touched, traditional systems integrators in one way or another over our careers,
Absolutely.
Allie, and Courtney, I think there's some friction sometimes when people say like, "Oh, the old way is not good." It's not that we need systems integrators to go away.
Not at all.
But I think personally, for me at least, we need better ways to help systems integrators get to customers, and customers understand what is a good fit for them, and then for them to execute projects with less friction. And I think there's a lot of room for improvement in a lot of the processes that systems integrators have to go through to get their job done, as well as the customer.
Right.
And we treat everything like it's custom.
Yeah.
And we need to stop doing that.
Agreed.
Not just for us. Like, obviously, we get more money if we charge you to start from scratch. But we also can do a lot more jobs for more customers if we do it faster. So really, you don't have to lose by doing it faster. You can do more work.
Right.
And then not piss people off. And so they kind of want that.
Most important.
About you guys should do you have any offshore AMRs? Because they should be on those rigs and on boats
that would
and
be
on
cool.
airplanes. Because we do have basically, like, I know, like, manufacturing has a skills gap and we don't have people to work, but like it's in everything.
Yes.
So cooking robots, and I've seen those AMRs inside of like a hot pot.
Of course.
Think in like San Diego.
Yep.
So it had like a cat face. Maybe that was, I don't know which one that was.
That's voodoo. I think that's how you say it.
And he she brings you napkins and shit. But like, like we are going to see more of that in society. But we also, it's not like we're trying to take those jobs. No one's taking them. No one is going to. There's not 13 people that are applying for your server job. There's nobody applying for your server job.
Exactly.
So it's not like it's not the way it sounds. Some people are kind of getting, I guess offended, whatever, because they don't really understand what they're hearing. But
URG sells one called Play-Doh, and from what I've seen so far, it's like the robot's helping the server bring the food out. So your servers that you do have are not quitting their job because their job sucks for how much work they have to do and how understaffed they are. The robot's just helping them carry this massive
running the food. That's great.
They're like, these people need their milkshakes.
Yeah.
These people need napkins. Go do it.
Yeah, Allie, you touched on something that was really important before. So in the world that I've understood of all the way of traditional way is everyone's been coding to optimize to leave the project, leave the project. No one's optimizing for the future flexibility. So the system integrators are now coming around to SVT, and we have some great partners now that have been trained up on the platform and actually using it as a tool set, which has been really great to see kind of that turn now, of them being really excited about how fast they can help their customers. And then they can do projects in phases because they don't have to do the software at the same time of the AMR, of the picking robot, as the IoT devices, whatever's going in. So that's been really great to see too.
This clearly benefits both the end user and integrators.
Yep, and the partner scale.
Yeah, do you see like as the company grows, it will continue to serve both, or do you think it'll be more of a tool for integrators who already kind of are playing around in that pool, so to speak?
I see it definitely for more software integrators to take advantage of it. I think they're buried in work. The lack of resources out there is crazy, and really, we just want to reduce the IT burden. When it comes to adding new solutions. And I mean, we've gone through a crazy few years with market changes. Like, who knows what the next 5 years will bring. So the flexibility is so key, and the IT burden is absolutely there. The amount of IT technical debt out there, I know you guys all see it. It's crazy.
Yeah. So we have a systems integrator here in the audience, David Turner, who he said, yes, modular and quick deployment as semi-custom is better for everyone. How does a systems integrator that wants to get trained on your system get in touch with you guys?
They can absolutely, Morgan at svtrobotics.com, happy to help them out. So really what's happening right now, they're coming into the Experience Center and we're training them on how to build soft bots, how to configure them, even make their own, and then they can go out and actually deploy on the edge or in the cloud. So both ways are options for end customers. And so they're coming in and they're spending a couple days with the team. We will have an SVT University official program coming out in 2024. So I'll keep you guys posted on that.
Yeah.
And hopefully some pretty cool events down here in Norfolk, Virginia. And of course, you three have an open invite anytime. So
now that I'm seeing a little taste of it back there, not that I wasn't interested before, but would love to make it out, especially if we could combine it with some training.
Absolutely.
That sounds awesome. Yeah. Megan wants to chime
SVT
in.
stand for? Oh, sorry.
Hang on. Let me ask this or just
go for it.
I don't think customers in restaurants want all robotic service. The human-to-human connection is still important. I think you're 100% right. Like, I love that robot that's at our favorite sushi place.
Yes.
It brings the desserts. Sometimes it brings orders. They have an all-you-can-eat model, so you can order as many times as you want, but like small dishes. So those servers are just constantly bringing stuff out, and that little robot helps. Like, it brings, I would say, maybe a quarter of the food that would like come to our table has been brought by that robot. But then every time there's a birthday, the robot shows up to the birthday table and plays the happy birthday song with the happy birthday dessert on it.
Right.
And my kids love that thing. But would I want to only be served by that? No, I don't think so. I mean, I think like conveyor belt sushi was one of the earliest like concepts.
Automation,
mechanically delivering your food to you.
Right.
There was a restaurant in Seattle that, I don't know, was it still around when you came? Blue Sea Sushi. Allie, did you ever eat there?
No, but I'm thinking like at least your drinks should be served. Like maybe the bartender is busy.
Yeah.
And that sometimes a bartender takes a long time to bring you drinks. So yeah, like your server is going to do what they need to do, but maybe this thing brings you part of it like that, like your desserts or your drinks type of thing.
For your consideration though, drinks are significantly harder to have in motion.
Yeah.
Can we put them in sippy cups?
Yeah. Well, have you guys seen that video?
Mind your acceleration and deceleration before you end up serving the drink in a not so
That's funny.
Not so nice fashion.
I think it's a concept. It was like I saw a video from a university, but they developed a system that self-levels, and they were just like holding drinks, and it's like a gimbal.
You put a drink on a gimbal.
Yeah, you know? Yeah. So that'll make its way into server robots, I'm sure, once that academic stage somehow makes it into commercialization.
It is actively happening.
I've been frustrated for years of unrealistic demo videos that like all those social media, like whatever channels will put out, like cool engineering. And I'm like, oh, this looks great. And then I'm like, wait, it's 5 years now. Where is this thing? It never made it. It never made it.
It died. Yeah.
And it would be cool. Like, I feel like we should have disclaimers on things like that. Like, this is a concept only. This does not exist. You cannot buy this anywhere.
So I have another question. That robot behind you, like what's the concept behind there? Because it doesn't have its own arms, so it can't pick parts. But it could stand next to someone that pick parts and type things in and whatever, and then take it away where it needs to go. So how does that thing work?
Pretend like this is a big warehouse behind me, tons of rack. So Locust specifically does like zone picking. So they have people standing in different zones, and the Locust bots come to them, And what's so smart is like how they're programmed with all the inventory is it kind of goes right to this like section of where you need to be picking that object, pops up on the screen, typically shows you which side it is, the quantity, and you just scan it and put it in the bin and it's like on to the next one. So they're picking, you can use them for picking, you can use them for replenishment as well. So again, think of back in the day with people with their Excel sheets, a push cart, their hands are full, their pencils, and then if something's out of inventory, they have to like let their supervisor know. So these things are so smart, and really the thing that really wows me is the training aspect. So it takes about 15 minutes to train on like a Locust or a Six River Systems bot, where voice picking or vision picking takes a lot longer. So, as far as like a third party logistics company or a company that has to use temp labor for peak season, they don't have all day to train. They don't have weeks. And unfortunately, it's a high turnover job. So that 15 minutes of training is critical and it gets them out, picking orders, which is huge.
Yeah, my brother-in-law works in a warehouse and he's like the longest tenured person there now, and he hasn't been there all that long. Like
That's
people
crazy,
will
right?
show up like first week, like they'll have like a 50% dropout rate of the new hires in the first week.
Yeah,
and at that kind of pay level, like they're not going to give you a 2 weeks. They just no show, and
it's the sad truth. It's been really hard for all those companies. And then they compete against each other too,
Yeah. And then really when they're offering a job, it's like, oh, it's unskilled labor for warehouse.
Right.
Of course, people are going to chase the $1, $2 higher per hour pay because it's essentially the same job, and you're telling them they're interchangeable. Mm-hmm. They're not valuable in a way other than you're a body there, and can you meet the metrics or whatever, right?
Right.
But that's a tough level of jobs, like to keep people at all.
To me, everyone wants everything at their fingertips, but they're not thinking like, where is this coming from, and like those jobs are dirty jobs, but it's how the country is running right now. So it's kind of like everyone needs to wake up and be like, this is how it, like, this is the new normal.
Yeah.
That's why I brought up like these robots being on like ships. Because one of the dirtiest jobs from another podcast I found was like squid fishing.
Oh yeah.
And they really just need robots on there with these people.
Right.
Oh
Oil
my god.
Too. There's probably some jobs
Google
out on those
squid fishing. Oh my god.
Gross.
Squid fishing? Yeah, I don't know.
It's just they're not very high crews, and I guess when you kill a squid, it smells like pee. It's just a very miserable job.
Ew.
Very like, laboring, because like these squid can be up to 200 pounds.
Oh wow.
And they're deep sea, and like you haven't seen land, and like that goes to like, being a sailor. But like, I watched some stuff about squid fishing, and I'm just like, okay, well, we can put robots on there.
Right. Can we?
Like, God, we got to save people from doing that.
Oh my God, there's so many jobs where we really need a robot to be doing that.
Yeah.
Because it's so wrong to be making people do that.
Gross.
Can we teach these people to fix the robots? Because I know they need money. We still need to feed the people, but like, oh my God, these jobs are so horrible.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of robot technician jobs coming out, that you don't need a degree, which is great. And I hope more certificates come out like that from trade schools, so I'm really excited to see that. SVT is very involved with like community level of robotics clubs and STEM clubs. And we are true believers like you guys, Allie. I love what you've done with the Kits for Kids. I love the coloring book. I can't wait to get some for my nieces.
That was a great idea, Nikki.
Thank
you. You guys crushed it. You're definitely getting an order from me, and maybe I'll just have some here for when we get some younger middle school girls in.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I gotta put something together and like have it printed. One of our community members, Hank, I think he just went and like printed them out immediately for his daughters. And
awesome guy.
Posted a picture. He's like, "Oh, they're coloring it tonight," and a few other people were like, "Oh, how can I get it in print?" And I was like, just print it.
Go open it.
This is his second time being a parent. He has adult children.
Yeah,
and so they went and did it again. Like
these girls that he adopted.
Anyone who can do that again is just thank you for spreading that love. Like, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, another thing that he has coming up is this is his 40th year as a master tradesman, and so he's going to start producing some content, like things that he's learned in his career and stuff like that. So if anybody isn't following Hank Pruim and his hashtag Junior Board of Directors, highly recommend
Some of these guys that are, not the youngest guys are taking our advice, a lot of our advice, and just doing the thing. And we need it so desperately. We need it so bad. We need their advice. We need to know, like, how did they get here? Because we don't have that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not 40 yet. So, like, and I consider myself, like, older. Like, I'm not
We've
Gen
crossed
Z.
into middle-aged, I think.
Yeah,
is the
we're
correct
not
term.
Gen Z, but we're not Gen, but we're not the boomers either. And we need these boomers to tell us how to not, like, let the rest of the world down with the way that we built this stuff.
Yeah.
So
we need to pass that.
Don't let us die out here. We're trying our best, but we need people like Hank to let whatever else they can, go.
Pass that tribal knowledge to someone. Ideally, put it on the internet,
knowledge.
because then it will not die. More people can find it. You don't have to be a whiz at social media or content. Just get what you know out there, and then if you want some help from someone to get it into more places, and
our generation's doing it. We're doing it. We're like, we're gonna put everything out there, but we don't know everything.
Right?
We're not the boomers.
We need more of the knowledge.
Yeah, there's still
pass
stuff
the knowledge.
we don't know anything about.
Well, the ones with the knowledge are like waiting until they can, do it well or make it pretty. And in my mind, I'm like, do it bad. We need it badly enough to just start off, do it bad, and then make it pretty later.
Please and thank you.
Yep.
You guys older than me, please.
A desperate plea to all the experts out there, and whether you think you're an expert or not, if you have experience, you are an expert at something. You know something that somebody else doesn't know, please share it. It doesn't matter how,
somebody,
or where.
We don't actually believe that we know everything. We don't fully acknowledge that we don't. And we want you to teach us. We're teachable. Teach us.
Nowhere near that. But exactly. Like, I'm going to share everything I can, but I can only share 20% of what I'm supposed to be able to share for you. Like, I only did 10 years before I try to go do a business. I'm not any kind of delusion where I think that I know everything that I needed to know. There's so much more I'll learn for the rest of my life, but I'll give my people what I have. But I'm going out there and finding people like John Pillar who's older than me, who can help, teach my people what to do. And that's actually, and even him, he's only in his 40s. So what about the 50s and the 60s guys? We need you bad.
Bring him out of retirement.
Yeah. Yeah,
you see the
age does matter. Yeah,
Morgan, do you see the SVT Robotics platform kind of help with that, institutional knowledge, taking it from individual systems integrators or operators' hands and putting it into platform where it can scale or replicate? Or
absolutely, that's really what we're going for this year, is really trying to scale and really allow easy deploying of automation for everybody, no matter what vertical you're in, or what you need help with connectivity with different systems. And then the monitoring aspect really doesn't matter what you're looking for.
Yeah. So let's I'm going to go back to David Turner asked a question. You may have missed this initially, but can you clarify what you mean exactly by soft bot?
Yeah, I don't know.
How is it different from a robot?
Cool. Good question, David. So a soft bot is a tech agnostic pre-built connector developed from an OEM's API that's deployed on the platform. To help you understand what a soft bot does, it normalizes data, enables rapid communication, and provides multi-point communication to talk to different systems.
So it's a little software robot.
Yeah, exactly. The software portion of the robot. That
is it like a digital twin? I keep hearing that term come up now. Is it kind of the same
it's
thing?
It's not a video. It's actually software.
Exactly.
Twin is a video.
And I may be wrong, but I'm envisioning it as a little robot that runs between the robot that's on the floor, right, which is your OEM product, and whatever system is above that. So it's like a little runner in a restaurant that's helping bring stuff to from one robot to whatever layer it needs to be communicating to.
Right. It's
and
passing
each individual
data.
soft bot is kind of deployed
Gateway?
to run between one little robot and the other things and go back and
All right,
forth.
I like keeping the restaurant theme going.
Yeah. Am I
I'm
right,
like,
or am
a
I
gateway?
completely off base with that?
No, it's like you're spot on. It's actually just like the data pieces. It's just passing the data that it needs from the other systems. You know,
Okay.
I
so
was like,
oh,
so translation. So that is a gateway almost.
there you go. There you
SVT
go.
makes a gateway for all your robots.
Like you can think of
Anything
it like
that you
a
want to talk.
integration layer, a normalization layer, you know, and like why would you use a softbot? Because it's reusable, it's self-documenting, and it's easy to support. And of course, the big thing is they're fast to deploy, and that's what it's all about. Is you don't have to think about, oh, I want to do this robot. It's going to take a year. No, it can happen in weeks to months now.
What do you
with
tell a softbot? Do you tell it like what your end piece is? So like
Yeah.
your last robot, and then what
So-
your new software is. Like, yeah, what do you tell the softbot?
So these guys back here, they're trying to find pick tasks. Like they're waiting for like waves from a WMS, like a warehouse management system, to come down, and they're like waiting like for those pick tasks to go do their missions.
Oh.
Yeah, so those are like the endpoints, or you know, the data that like
Yeah.
those are taking from another system.
Oh.
So yeah,
Interesting.
it's really cool.
It is cool.
So we got our friend David here. Hey, David, nice to see you. He says, I'm sorry. He's late. He said, I heard there's a big problem with switching between different robots and their platforms. Like if you use a KUKA and then switch to another brand, you have issues with the platform that controls it. 100%. And I think there's multiple different solutions out there for like one overlay that will allow you to program all the robots in the same language. Do you guys touch that part as well, or is that different from your
No,
system?
he's spot on with the software. Like I said at the beginning, no two APIs speak the same language. My favorite question is, how well do you play with others? You know, and they don't. They're designed not to work together. But the world that we're living in is that one robot can't do it all.
Yeah.
So they have to learn to play nice together, and that's really the SVT bridge. Is we're allowing them to communicate, although they don't even know they're communicating to each other, which is mind blowing because they're just talking to the platform. And the platform sends the messages to, okay, you need to go here, you need to go there. So it's really been great to see. But he makes a really good point on it is difficult traditionally to switch your software to add a different piece of technology. But when you have SVT, that simplicity is all built in because again, you're not custom code, it's not super brittle, the Jenga tower of code is not going to fail on you, and it makes it easy for businesses to change and adopt new technology.
Yeah.
Are there any AMRs you haven't integrated into being able to use SVT with it, or have you tried to go after everything that is an AMR out there?
We have not gone after them all. Right now, it's kind of like a opportunity based, or you know, who really wants to be on the platform. What is the market telling us as far as you know, what do we need to solve this year? Picking, packing, and I would say the ASRSs, you know, automated storage and retrieval systems are really hot right now. So that's been a big focus, and of course, the software side of things on the warehouse management systems.
Yeah. So one of the things I learned, I guess, recently is like there are applications for AMRs in logistics, and then similar but different applications for AMRs inside manufacturing facilities doing material handling for raw materials going to a station or semi-finished goods moving to the next process. And those are also material handling, but they, I think, use very different software systems to control them. You've got warehouse management on one side, which is why I guess I wasn't so familiar with WMS.
That's okay.
It was my guess, but I know a lot of people listen to the show. They may not know specific acronyms. So I'm trying to get better about sounding out just in case.
Great point. So the AMRs in like Allie's world, you know, in manufacturing, they are listening for transport tasks. So they're bringing like maybe like different items to a kitting station, you know, and then once it's done, you know, that person can hit an IoT button and then it can take it to the next spot. So they're doing a lot of transporting. And that way workers there don't have to kill themselves pushing pallets around or, you know, they can just focus on the tasks at hand. And I see a lot of that in the kitting and manufacturing, just moving product around.
But I suppose an AMR can be used for both types of applications.
Absolutely.
So maybe the system that controls it will be different.
Correct.
And you guys work across either application?
Either vertical. Yep. We have a lot of manufacturing customers as well as, supply chain and warehousing customers. And then healthcare, like you nailed it, is another one. So really a lot of options right now. We've just been very focused because the 3PLs seem to need the most help. But like I said, there's enough SVT to go around for everybody.
Especially since it being a software platform, you're not
Exactly.
supply chain constrained like the hardware
Correct.
manufacturers are.
Yes. Right.
Very cool.
So something that I'm kind of new-ish to now in the last year is working with mobile manipulators. So it's an AMR with a 6-axis arm on top of it.
Right.
So those things can do obviously a lot of stuff in warehouse or manufacturing. What I'm looking at more is manufacturing and raw materials handling, like Nikki was describing.
Right.
But in my past lives, everything is tied to like the same network, and it makes it very easy for me to talk to everything. And now I have this completely disconnected AMR that I can only communicate with wirelessly, and I'm having to look at a whole new set of products, and I have to talk to, CNCs and elevators and all kinds of different stuff that's just kind of new to me. So just curious as far as like that kind of thing goes. You already have customers that are using like an arm to talk to a CNC and also the elevator, and what kind of products do you use to just tie everything to the same network?
Yeah, so like I said, the softbot does that as long as there's like those API endpoints that I was referring to kind of all work together. But that application that you're talking about I'm seeing it as well with the mixed case palette, or actually building cases of all different kinds, So when you think about an arm on top of an AMR, building those cases, or depalletizing as well, taking things off a conveyor. So those things are definitely, Courtney, need a lot of help. So SVT is really, trying to branch on all sides and help technologies really go faster and like find gaps too with their software.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I have lots of conversations to have with you offline now.
Courtney, I'm excited. I guess I know we're getting close to time. What's the next show you guys are going to? I will be at Modex, and I was just curious if anyone's walking Modex in Atlanta. Cool, Courtney.
I'm exhibiting at Modex. Come check out our booth.
Looking forward to it.
So we'll be doing some shout outs for that. I've been asked repeatedly if I'm going to Modex. I do not plan on being there, but Courtney will be there on behalf of Automation Ladies.
I'll be FaceTiming you with Courtney.
All right. I think what we have coming up next for myself, I'm actually next week going to Austin to speak at the Industrial Marketing Summit, which is pretty exciting because it's kind of the first one in our industry that I've seen that's been put together that has multiple different groups, not just like one publishing company doing a conference for their users. Industrial marketing. I'm not a marketer. So I'm like, I guess tap me because I do marketing without being a marketer. I don't really know anything.
Hey, we all are on the side. It's okay.
Right. Yeah. And I think, that's one of the things about just if you're willing to come out and be public and talk about what you do, hey, that's a form of marketing. You can call it employee or user generated marketing, but it's out there. So that'll be fun. There's a lot of people from the industry I know that are going to be there.
Awesome.
And then I am going to that Traceroute Con also, which is Josh Varghese' training. And I know I think we're going to do a live episode, or maybe not live, but we'll record an episode with Caitlin Young while we're on site. And as far as other shows, I think so this will actually be a big deal. Automation Ladies will be at the Assembly Show South in Nashville.
Nice.
And we're going to have a booth. It'll be our first time having an Automation Ladies lounge at a show.
Wow.
And if we find that to be fun and successful, we might be doing that at other shows going forward.
I am so excited to follow your adventures.
Thank you. But you let us know where you guys are going to be at Modex.
Absolutely.
We'll make sure to you and Courtney collab on something, and maybe we can send some interested people your way that are here, great. Or maybe that see this later, that can come see some of your stuff in person.
Awesome.
So I'll throw that question right back to you for our last couple of minutes. What do you have going on or coming up that we should pay attention to, and where can people find you and follow you and get in touch with you if they want to work with you?
So check out svtrobotics.com, and my email is morgan@svtrobotics.com. Really easy. Check me out on LinkedIn. And really what I want to tell people is why should you leverage the SVT platform is we are the only tech agnostic platform right now, really for supply chain IT teams to help integrate, monitor, and scale automation. So that's really what I want to leave everybody with. SVT will have a presence at Manifest. We'll have a presence at Modex. So would love to see you guys all there. Keep in touch. And honestly, Nikki and Courtney, it's always such a pleasure to catch up with you guys. You are awesome mentors for women, and I'm huge fans, and I can't wait to continue to watch you guys grow this thing.
Thank you so much, Morgan. Thanks for coming on, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
For sure.
Bye,
See you guys
everyone.
soon. Thanks,
Thanks for
y'all.
tuning in.
Take care.